when me and my family decided to go on a cruise to Alaska, we did a lot of research to figure out which cruise line we should do. So I'm going to share all my research with you so you don't have to do as much work as I did. Because when you go to each of the cruises web pages, they all claim they're the best for going to Alaska. And I also want to say that these are like the major cruise lines, okay? If you want to do a small luxury type ship, this isn't going to be the PowerPoint for you. These are like the major cruise lines, okay? So yeah, this is Holland America. We've got Princess over here. We've got Carnival. They're all claiming. So I did the research, so you can just ignore the claims. Okay, so first of all, think about what you want. Do you want to do a cruise and a land tour? Because if you want to do a land tour, here are the 5 cruise lines that also do a land tour. And of course, you could try to figure out your own land tour to do after your cruise all by yourself, but it is a lot easier for them to plan it for you. Me and my family were so glad that Holland America did all the planning for us. That was like one of the best parts, was just they did everything and even took our bags. Oh, it was amazing. But anyways, okay, so the 5 that do land tours: Holland America, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Princess, and Celebrity. So so for Denali, these ones, Celebrity, Norwegian, and Royal Caribbean, go to Denali, but Holland America is the only one who goes further into the Yukon. So if you want to go further, keep that in mind. We didn't. We went to Denali, then we went back. We didn't go further into Fairbanks or anything like that. So if you want to do a Yukon tour, Holland America. If you want to cruise Glacier Bay, you have 3 options: Norwegian, Holland America, and Princess Cruises. Those are the only 3 that are with the National Park Service, and they go into Glacier Bay. Now, if you've ever been on another cruise line and you think, oh no, I've been to Glacier Bay and it wasn't one of those cruises. Okay, first of all, things could change over time. I don't know. But also, a lot of other cruise lines go into a fjord or they do glacier viewing. It's just not in Glacier Bay. You can still see glaciers and not be in Glacier Bay. Okay, but if you are a bucket list checker and you want to go to all the national parks and you want to go to Glacier Bay and you want to do a cruise to Glacier Bay, these are going to be the ones for you. Okay, of course, you can go on another cruise line and do glacier viewing. A lot of them go to Hubbard Glacier. They do other ones too. Tracy Arm Fjord. We went to College Fjord on Holland America. We went to Glacier Bay and College. That was really great to see. To have 2 days of scenic viewing, that was amazing. But anyways, so if you don't care what glacier you see, and you don't care about Glacier Bay, but you want to see a glacier, you can do other cruise lines. I did like it being a national park. I don't know, maybe I'm just a national park stan, but anyways, I also want you to remember how big Alaska is, because I really didn't realize that before I went on the cruise, okay? And when you're cruising, you're mostly right down in here. That is pretty much it. When you're cruising the Inside Passage, that is all of this. We've got Ketchikan, we've got Juneau, we've got Skagway, and down here is where you're coming from, either Seattle or Vancouver most of the time. So you're cruising this, but look, it's only this little part, okay? So keep that in mind. Alaska is huge, huge. Another thing I do want to say about the Inside Passage is a lot of cruise lines like to say, and on this day, you're going to sail the Inside Passage. And you really don't see that much, honestly. Like, it is really cool. Sometimes you see the mountains and you're like, wow, it's beautiful. And we went early in May, or not early in May, but in May, which is like early in the season. So we still saw snow and things like that. But on one day when we were just cruising, like we didn't have a port or anything like that, so we were just cruising the Inside Passage, we didn't see anything. Nothing. Like, it was just sea. And it was also really cloudy for us. We had not great weather, so possibly when it's clear skies you might see more. But for us, like, just a day of cruising the Inside Passage is not that great. But the cruise lines like to market it as being really amazing, so just watch out for that. It is amazing, but anyways. Okay, so also this is what it looks like if you're going Inside Point or Inside Passage, and then you're going all the way to Whittier. Anchorage is near Whittier, so you could also go somewhere in there. And then if you do a land tour, you're going to go a little bit further into Alaska. And it looks like you're not really going that far, right? But no, this is like an 8-hour train ride or like a 6-7 hour bus ride. So it's really far. And you're not, like, Alaska keeps going forever. Like, it is a big state, but it takes a long time because it is so big. Let's go back and remember how big it is. Okay? Like, you're going from here to here. That is the size of one state in the lower 48 a lot of times. So just remember that. So other cruise lines, not the ones that I listed. Actually, I am going to talk about some of the ones I listed, but Carnival didn't want to show. I put pictures, but the pictures wanted to take a nap, so they're not doing it. But anyways, they do go to a lot of places, but they don't go to like Glacier Bay. And I was just going to show you the ports that they do go to. But anyways, moving on. Norwegian. So these are the ports and things like that that Norwegian goes to. Now Norwegian, I wanted to mention that they built a port in Ketchikan. It's called Ward Cove, and they built it for 2 reasons. They built it, one, so that bigger ships could go in. So they also, other ships go to this port as well, not just Norwegian, but Royal Caribbean, some Disney. So make sure to take a look. It'll say Ketchikan Ward Cove or Ward Cove Ketchikan. If it just says Ketchikan, you're going to regular Ketchikan port. If you're going to Ward Cove, it is outside the city, the town. So they don't have to like pay port fees to the town or whatever, because you know they built the port. So it's like cheaper for them in the long run, I guess. But also keep in mind that if you're in Ward Cove, you can't just like walk out into the town like you can if you're in regular Ketchikan. And that's how a lot of ports are in Alaska. You can just get off the ship, walk around the town, but not in Ward Cove. So just make sure to remember that and think about that as you plan. They have buses and things like that that'll take you to town, but just like keep that in the back of your mind. Disney, these are the ports and things that Disney goes to. Disney does do Ketchikan and Ward Cove, so you can try to find one that goes to whichever one you're trying to do. Now, one of the big reasons I feel like people cruise Disney Alaska is because how cute are they? How cute are they? Like if I go to Alaska again, I might go just for these guys. They're so freaking cute. Yeah. Also there's Royal Caribbean. Now they don't, on their website, they didn't try to list like a bunch of things, but they go to the major ones, Sitka, Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan. They don't do Glacier Bay, but they do land tours. So remember that. Virgin is kind of new, right? I know someone who's doing Virgin next year, so I guess you have to wait a long time to have a review about that. I'm not going, but I could make them do a video, I don't know. Anyways, they do go to a lot of places, but there's not a lot out there about them. They don't have a long-standing history in Alaska or anything like that, so we'll just kind of have to see. They also, like I said, don't do Glacier Bay. They don't do land tours, so. But I hope this helps. I hope this helps narrow your search down a little bit. Do you want to go to Glacier Bay? If so, that's 3 choices. You're trying to just do a land tour with your cruise? You've got 5 choices, okay? If you're not trying to do any of these big named cruise lines, well, this video wasn't for you, but I hope you still have fun in Alaska.